said so long, carry on, 'cause the devil wants to take me for a ride.
Panama, Panama. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Get Your Act Together with Mike Bain. And you're probably thinking, why is Michael singing Van Halen? If you didn't know that song, well, fuck you. I don't know how you couldn't know that song. I just went to Panama, so that's why. I thought that song was pandemum my entire life. It wasn't till I was listening to one of Rogan's podcasts and Bobcat Goldthwait was on. And Bobcat was talking about how he was in Panama high on cocaine and he finally understood Van Halen. And I go, I finally understand that fucking song. I finally understand that fucking song. Are you kidding me? It's funny enough, I remember my uncle telling me that for years he thought when Van Halen sang Might As Well Jump, he thought it was Maxwell Jump. I kind of get this feeling that across the board, I think we all have some song. Everyone has some song they've been singing wrong for their entire life. And then you mumble it like I have it. So, in Catholic Church, I finally asked my wife this, but there's a thing you do at some point during the Mass, right? Now, I know the cross, your Father, Son, Holy Spirit, that's easy. But there's a thing they do with their face where they kind of do like a cross up here on the forehead. It's right above your mouth. There's and I don't know what it is. So what I do is I hold my hand up and I just rub my thumb on my fucking nose. And I hope to God no one's watching me. That's what I do. That's my version of that. Anyway, how you guys doing? Hey, it's a good day. It's a beautiful day. You survive. You live in the Northeast. You survived the earthquake. If you also survived the blizzard or the rainstorm, depending where in the Northeast you are. You survived the eclipse. Hell of an eclipse today. You survive. If you're in Maryland, maybe you survived that bridge incident. That was no fun. That was oh man. I got to be honest. I was staying on an island off the coast, right outside of Panama City, right? And a local guy, one morning I'm filming the sunrise. He comes up to me, and the guy just he stinks of beer. He stinks of beer, and he starts talking to me, and I'm talking to him, and I can kind of keep up a little bit, but he starts asking me stuff that I don't, there's a word he's using I don't know. And then finally my wife comes down and she goes, oh, he wants to know what you think about the boat that wrecked the bridge. And I go, here I am as an American, right? And I get that there's some ego in this and an old way of thinking, but I'm standing on a third world island where they burn their trash. And this guy's like, so, man, you just can't keep your country together up there in the U.S., huh? Meanwhile, I'm looking out at 80 ships about to go in the canal with no problems. And this guy's like, what the fuck is wrong with you Americans? This dude just it's like 6 a.m, stinking a beer, wearing flip-flops. And just like, yeah, dude, that's as Bruce Hornsby would say, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Anyway, Panama was something else. Hold on. So I'm just reading what I want to cover in this episode. And Panama kind of blew me away. It was not what I was expecting. Now, I know the history of Panama a decent amount. And if you don't know the history of Panama, here, let me give you a little quick how do you do, right? So Panama was part of Colombia, right? Panama, another Spanish colony in the many viceroyalties of the Americas, the Spanish viceroyalties. The viceroyalty of New Granada under Simon Bolivar revolted, and it became New Granada, which maybe 10, 20 years after, I don't even think it was that long, separated into the countries of Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. And if you look, and a little bit of it became parts of Brazil and Guyana and Peru, but it was mainly those three countries. And if you look at all their flags are all the exact same color. They almost look identical except for some little signs on them, but they're the same colors. Panama joined up, so Panama goes, hey, we don't want to be part of Spain anymore, so they just bribed the troops, the Spanish troops. They go, hey, how about we give you some money and we're going to revolt and you just don't do nothing. And they didn't. and they ended up joining with Gran Colombia a couple of years after Gran Colombia, existed. And so they became part of it, right? And then Venezuela leaves, and then Ecuador leaves, and then Panama is just part of Colombia, right? And, Colombia did something. So there's two kind of systems, right, for governance. There's federalism, which is something we have, and then there's centralism, right? So basically what that means is in a federalist system, there's different levels of government, right? So Russia, Canada, Mexico, the USA, Germany, these are federalist systems. And what that means is you have a local government, and they have their own power, local police forces, local workers. Then above that, you have you have a state or provincial government and a governor and all that, and they have their own and then you have your federal government up top. Now, a lot of federalists actually want more control over the federal government. So in our history, Hamilton was a federalist, and he's a big fucking fag. I'm not fuck Hamilton. He's a douche. He really, we had a good thing going, and Hamilton just looked at the U.S. and goes, hey, here's a union, a confederation of different governments, states, working together. What if we had a big, easily corruptible government that could turn into a giant military-industrial complex pedophile? That's what Hamilton said. Anyway, that's what happened, Hamilton. You fucking jerk off. Because, of course, Hamilton would want that, because Hamilton wasn't from the U.S. He was from the West Indies. I believe he was from the Bahamas. He was from a British colony in the Caribbean, and he came over. He was an immigrant, and, fucking immigrants, fucking shut up. Hamilton was, for a very strong federalist government. Now, federalism allows for that, right? The alternate is centrism, where you just you have smaller governments, but they don't get to do shit. It really comes down to just whoever's in charge. This was an issue that a lot of Latin America dealt with. We were able to pull it off, because it's always if you have too much separation, people just go, yeah, fuck you, I'm doing my own thing, I don't want to be a part, I'm going to revolt, civil war, blah, 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 revolution. If you have too much, then people go, well, I definitely don't want to be a part. You assholes in power, you don't care about people where I live, you just care about the capital. France is a place like that, where in France, it's one of these big problems. When you have a capital that's also the biggest population center, that big population center, whenever they get mad and riot, they get to force the executive and the legislative branches of government to do what they want. So it ends up that metropolitan epicenter runs the entire country, and the people in the hinterlands get fucked over. Now, Yeah, Mexico did this. Mexico was federalist, but they were too hardcore federalist centralist. All right, sorry, I'm all over the place. Centralist is when you just go, hey, we're just going to rule everything from the top down. El Presidente does what he wants, and that goes for everyone. So in Colombia, one police force. I know that's crazy, but to my wife, we're crazy for having so many police forces, but imagine if there was just one United States police force. That's it. There was no Boston, NYPD, Los Angeles County, no county police, no state police, just one giant bureaucratic thing. China's like that. There's no regional variation. It's all, bam, the main Chinese Communist Party. China has one time zone for the entire country, and their country is bigger than the U.S. Just keep that. That's the Chinese. The Chinese communist mentality is one size fits all. Just a mean Chinese parent coming in. You put on shoe, Dad, my shoe doesn't fit. I'm a size 8. It's a size 6. You put on shoe. But this should be for my little brother. I get one shoe for everybody. We know I'm not good in accents. I get one shoe. All children. All children. One shoe. One shoe size. That's the Chinese mentality is, hey, I get 8 kids of varying different sizes of feet, and he just goes, I'm going to get a pair of 6s for everyone. And everyone's like, my shoes don't fit. I get one shoe. Make it fit. Make it fit. Make it fit. You make it fit. Dad, these shoes are too big. Oh, you grow in. Dad, these shoes are too small. Hey, you grow out. That is literally just the Chinese mentality, all right? And that comes with a lot of problems, which is that it tries to destroy regionality and people want revolts. Now, in Latin America, they've dealt with this a lot, which is why they've had, so many. It's why Gran Colombia didn't work. They basically ran the whole country from Bogota way up in the mountains. Everything is very difficult to get to. It's not a flat country like the middle of the U.S. Here's what you understand. If the U.S., instead of having the Great Plains, was just all Rocky Mountains the whole way, we wouldn't be together. We'd be done. We'd be gone by now, right? Done. It would have been over. Colombia tried this. It didn't work. People broke apart. Mexico tried this, which is why Texas left. Also, Texas let in a bunch of immigrants. So, that's the story of Texas is that a bunch of American Europeans who came through America, some Americans went into Texas. They were like, yeah, we kind of want to do our own thing. And then they revolted. There were a lot of Mexicans who revolted too because Mexico was being ruled entirely from Mexico City and the regional provinces were getting raw dogged in the ass. And basically they were doing a one size fits all. That's what they were doing. They were going, this is how it works in the main capital, and you guys will just deal with it. And everyone's like out in the boonies going, our kids don't have food, and we would like them to go to school instead of being feudal serfs. And in the capital, they were like, yeah, you're just a bunch of monkeys, so why don't you shut your mouth? Why don't you shut your mouth before we come out there and kill you? And you had the Texas Revolution. Then you had right after, you had a revolution just south of Texas. They had a thing called the Republic of the Rio Grande, which didn't last. Texas tried to help it, but they also, in the Yucatan, the southeastern portion, that peninsula, the Yucatan Peninsula, revolted at the same time, had the Republic of the Yucatan. Texas had one ship in their navy, because Texas was a country for 10 to 20 years. They sent it down to Yucatan. Yucatan lost as well. So Mexico, even to this day, you have a country where you have the president in the capital. The capital's locked down, but you go out there, in the boonies, it's all cartels, So anyway, long story short, Colombia did something similar. All the power was in Bogota. They didn't give enough regional authority to people. And Panama went, bro, you're not taking care of us out here. So they kept trying to revolt. And then finally, and they tried again in like the 1880s, and they've been trying a bunch, and Colombia kept shutting it down. And then Chile sent a ship up there, and the U.S. sent a ship down there to both kind of be like, this is our territory, mind your fucking business. And then the U.S. kept trying to get a deal with Colombia to make this canal happen, right? Because the French had tried a canal, but the French just dug at sea level, like they did in the Suez Canal in Egypt. But the Suez was easy because it was just desert. Here was mountains, all right? Giant rock and granite. So these dumb French bastards are just trying to dig through mountains. And then what happens? They go bankrupt. The Americans come along. The Americans go, hey, why don't you make a system of docks. Docks, not the right word. Locks. Where you go in, you let water in, the ship floats up in the next lock. You go through these, we'll dam a river, make a lake. They want to do it in Nicaragua. So it's funny, Nicaragua, instead of being broke ass, as it is today, would have been the richest Central American country, kind of like Panama. Anyway, 1903, the U.S. is fed up with Colombia. Colombia is not playing along. Colombia it's corrupt. It still is. They don't get shit done. Look, I've had this debate with my wife, and I can tell you, I love things about Latin culture. There's great things about like the gringo, Anglo cultures too. But the thing that annoys me about Latin culture, logistics is a fucking nightmare. The idea of just, all right, be here at 8 o'clock, we're getting this done, bang, bang, boom, we're building fucking pyramids, dude. Just, no, it's like people show up when they want, it's just kind of lackadaisical, it's, oh, really? Yeah, I guess we're not, were we supposed to cement today? What are you going to do? What are you going to fucking do? I'm sorry. If we don't do this one thing today, the entire project's ruined. Yeah, what are you going to do, man? Fiesta. Canal wouldn't have been built if it wasn't for Americans. And so America says to Panama, so Panama is getting ready to revolt again. And America says to Panama, how about this? You guys have your little revolution, and we'll guarantee your sovereignty. But, and I said, but you let us build a canal here, and we're going to own the canal and a zone around the canal forever, in perpetuity. That will be American land, and also. In this contract and fine print, we reserve the right to invade your country and do whatever we want if you're not doing what we want to do. For the safety of the canal. So the Panama made a deal with the devil, and if you look at Panama's flag, it is not like Ecuador, Venezuela, and Colombia's. It's red, white, and blue with stars, just like the United States. So anyway. That's the story of Panama. And then we owned the canal, and Panama was our bitch for a long time. And then in the 70s, Jimmy Carter said, look, we'll give it back to you in 99. And we did. And Panama blew me away because now it was a lot more touristy than Colombia. Also, people spoke English. Like if you would go to a hotel, people would speak English. If you had restaurants, a lot of times people would speak English. Anything tourist related, people would speak English. It was actually, there was so much English, it kind of blew me away. It reminded me of Puerto Rico. Because in Colombia, nobody speaks English. And I start to understand why I meet American tourists who come here and are blown away when no one speaks English. Because people are used to going on these cruises, and cruises will stop in Panama City, and they sit there, and people come up to them, and they speak English, and they go, oh, okay, people just speak English, and I can get by with English. But Panama's been prepped, because it's been an American colony, and it's had our influence. And what Panama showed me was, there's no denying America's an empire. Just don't. The United States of America is an empire, and it's a strange empire Because it used to be when an empire would conquer a country, you'd go, bam, here's my flag. My flag is here. I planted my flag. Here's a map of the world, and I colored in red all the places that are part of my empire. All right, you see that? That's India. It's part of Britain. You see that? That's Algeria. It's blue because it's part of France. And what's that? It's Argentina. That's the western side of South America. That's yellow because it's part of Spain. That's just how it was. And they ruled them directly. And then people get mad and they go, you treat me like a second-class citizen. Fuck you, I'm having a revolution. I go, fuck you, I civilized you, you filthy animals. And they go, fuck you. And then, lots of killing and bing bang. Revolution. But what America does is, and we actually took this from the Dutch and the British, who did a lot of their imperialism through companies. It was either through the Dutch East India Company, the British East India Company, the West India Company. But we do this through our corporations, although our corporations pretty much own us now, where American corporations will go down there, and through economic control, you basically get what you want. See, the U.S. doesn't have to plant the American flag and say, we own you, speak our language, worship our religion. That what they do is they go in there and they economically kind of put you in a situation where you have to go along with it, or there might be regime change. Right? But at no point do they say this is, other than that canal strip, do they go, this is us, this is it, we own you. America makes you a colony, but they tell you you're not a colony. And that way all the people, like Western Europe is a colony of America. We take care of their defense. That's what a protectorate is. It's what Rome would do with Armenia, right? You're a protectorate of ours, and basically, you're look, man, you pay us and we take care of you and we use you as a buffer in between us and the Persian Parthians, right? That's what we do with Western Europe and Russia. You're our protectorate. But here's the thing, you buy our goods. We blow up a pipeline, now you have to get all your natural gas and your heating from us. That's how it works. That's an empire. But if you went to a European, the way America does it, all these arrogant cunts, they'll deny it. They'll go, I'm not in your empire, because they don't see the flag. And it allows them, because if they would just admit it, if they could just go, yeah, we're part of the American empire, we want out. Which that band Rammstein, which a great German band did. They have a song, we're all living in America, America, America. We're all living in America, America, America. Coca-Cola, Mickey Mouse. Watch the music video on YouTube. It's hilarious. They sing that part in English. The rest of the song is in German. Just like, they're the guys who sing Du hast mich gefragt und nicht gesagt. Anyway, by not admitting you're part of an empire, if you could admit, let's go, hey, America, we're part of the American empire, then you revolt. Because Panama would routinely revolt over the years against the U.S. They revolt against Colombia. We're part of you, we don't want to be part of you. If you tell them, we're not dating. We're not dating. How are we going to break up if we're not dating? And they go, yeah, we're not dating. So what? Meanwhile, you live together and you're dating. Like, you're dating, you're just not calling it dating, but it's dating. That's what the U.S. does. And people who are too arrogant and prideful in other countries, you know when you're online, you see someone going, my country's the best, your country fucking sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's those people. Because they go, we're not part of America. Does your country get to do stuff without going up to the Don? We're like the Don, and these are our little fucking guys in the mob. I've been watching a lot of Sopranos. And they go, hey, money goes up upstream, kick it up. Kick the money up. And, hey, we were thinking about, I was going to whack Jimmy the Dingleberry. And you go, nah, I don't think so. It's not good. Yeah, but Jimmy killed my brother. You're just going to have to deal with that. That's what the U.S. does. That's what we do. Hey, I want to invade. No, you're not. Nah, it's not good for business. But we want to. How about this? If you invade, you kill Jimmy the Dingleberry, there's going to be problems for you. How's that sound? Do you like the sound of that? No. Then don't fucking do anything. That's an empire. You know? And we get to say we're not an empire. We get to deny it because our flag isn't anywhere. We don't look at the map and see that, you know, Latin America is colored blue for us, or parts of Taiwan isn't colored. Japan, they're not colored blue. They're part of our empire. It's a new empire. It's a weird empire. And in an age of weirdness, it's right to have a weird empire. Who would have, you know, man, like I wonder when shit was getting weird in Rome. You know, we look around the American Empire and you just see furries. You go, like, what is that? I can't imagine living in a country and I look at the people that are running my empire. I'm in a, you know, you're living in a third world country and you just go, these are the dudes who are economically and militarily dominating us? Bunch of fucking furries, a bunch of puppy plays, a bunch of dudes in puppy play, a bunch of people who get off because they wear diapers, a bunch of people who beat off to pictures of feet. That's who runs the empire. How did we get here? Is that what the barbarians of like Germany thought? Was that what Dacians thought? And Thracians thought when they looked at Rome? Like, geez, these fucking transvestite boy fucking Rome, you know, later Rome when they got all degenerate. Is that what, that has to be the same, but I want to imagine like what it would do to like a tribal man, maybe somebody from like the Alemanni, and you look at the people ruling over you and they're dressed like a gay pink fox. What is that? What does that do to you psychologically? Anyway, Panama was great, dude, but it was weird. It made me realize how bad and insane globalism is and how small the world really is. Because I went to a mall in Panama, in the city. It's a big city, and it's a more modern city for the most part, and it is. And I wasn't expecting that because I was expecting it to be like the coast of Colombia, which is third world and underdeveloped. And it would have been if we didn't take it from Colombia. And I got my wife to admit this because in Colombia, all the money and resources go to the cities in the mountains, right? Bogota and Medellin, to a lesser extent Cali. The coast, the one Benaventura, which is a port on the Pacific coast, which is crime-ridden and no one gives a fuck about. It's never been developed. It could be a major port. There's nothing on the Colombian Pacific coast. The Caribbean, North Coast, the Atlantic coast, you got Barranquilla, which is kind of a port town. It's more modern. Santa Marta's like, it's gross. Cartagena, fucking dump, other than the historic district. And no infrastructure, because the Colombians of the central cities look down on the coast people. They call it the costeños. They think they're fucking dumb and they're lazy. I'll say shit to Colombians like, you guys can't get shit done down here. Oh, fucking, you're being a bigot. And then they sit there and they say the most racist shit about the costeños ever. And they're kind of right, because the thing with the costeños is they're Caribbean type people, which means they're kind of lazy. They do just enough work to get just enough money just to get by and spend all day drunk at the beach. There's just no, hey, I'm going to build a company and take advantage of this situation and pull myself up. You don't see that. And you could with all the tourists, man. Like, there are these tourists coming in just wanting to spend money. I saw it on this island. But at the same time, isn't that what you want? Isn't that the dream? Isn't the dream to get to a point where you have enough money where you can just be drunk on the beach all day and have no worries? Well, these guys realized I don't need to be rich to be drunk on the beach all day and have no worries. I could just do it if I wanted to, which is actually a really beautiful thing. They found peace and they found Zen, and here we are going, yeah, you're fucking lazy. Meanwhile, we work ourselves near to death to go on planes and boats to go where they live, just to pay out the ass to do what they're already doing. And what do? They wake up, they go grab some fish, chop down some coconuts, they go sell it, make enough money so they get their groceries, and they go fucking crack a fucking cerveza. They chill out. So, in all honesty, I think they kind of got the right thought. I'm not, But anyway, it made me realize how small it was because I went to a mall in Panama and, dude, McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Popeye's Chicken, Old Navy, Gap, American Eagle, Victoria's Secret, Chuck E. Cheese. They had a fucking Chuck E. Cheese's. Everything you could imagine here, they had there. It just blew me away. It was the days of going to a new country and experiencing completely different lifestyles, and it's becoming rarer. I'm really fascinated about the 1800s and the very early 1900s when you would go to you would go to a different country and people would wear completely different styles of clothing. Not, I got Gap and you got Banana Republic, which is owned by the same, which is both Gap, but it was just, the Dutch were still wearing clogs. Totally different clothing and hairstyles and customs. People, you would go to a new place and it would be alien. You wouldn't have a reference point for their language. There was no universal language. I think about like people island hopping in the Pacific, and it must have been like when in the Odyssey, when they're going from island to island in the Aegean Sea, the Greek islands, or Gulliver's Travels. You go to these different islands and everything's completely new and so different. And now it's just kind of like, oh, hey, where are we at? Vanuatu? McDonald's. Everyone here is also on TikTok. It's becoming so small, and if I could time travel back to that period where I could go to Japan and be like, this is so different than anything I could have ever imagined. Beyond, it would have been like going to different planets, like in Star Wars. And each planet is, you go, what the fuck? What is that? What is that? A Wookiee? What is that? And you go, what is that? A Greek woman? Oh my God, they're so hairy. And everything was, all the companies, and Panama was, the food was international. Colombia, the food's just Colombian. And Panama, because the canal, and they also have tons of money gets put there. A lot of people put money in banks to hide it from other places. Remember, if you saw Blow, they hid the money in Panama. Then Panama took it. But they have banks down there, and they have all these people come in on the boats, and they fly out. Their boat might stop there. They leave. New crews come in. So it's really international. And there's Asian food, and there's Mexican food, and there's American food. Dude, I had the best chicken fried steak of my life in Panama City. It was wild. And I kept thinking, the culture will be just like Colombia, because no. I think we forget that in other parts of the world, if you travel 100 miles, you end up in a place with a completely different culture. It's not like Wisconsin, where you travel 100 miles and you just go, hey, I'm fucking more Wisconsin. Just another drunk retard wearing a cheese head. It was, I went to this island, and let me give you guys some knowledge about the third world. So I think it's good that we try and take care of the world, right? I want to keep the planet healthy. I think that's a good thing. But all of you who are like these people that are doing climate protests in Europe, like the Greta Thunbergs and all them, bro, go to a third world country. We're over here worrying about paper straws. We are doing everything we can to cripple our lives for the sake of pollution, and you go to other countries. And the pollution is beyond anything you could imagine. In these countries, every single thing you buy is in something throwaway. There's no recyclable, reusable. Everything you get, every piece of water, every candy, everything you get comes in a plastic cup with a plastic utensil. Plastic, paper, plastic, always. You are continually throwing out stuff. You are always throwing trash away. You go by a river, the river's filled with trash. All right, there are parts of I've seen it here even in Medellin. Medellin's not that bad, but I went to a park and my wife's like, don't go there, it's not safe. And I'm walking there and I'm like, it'll be fine. And I'm walking through and it's third world because you see mountains of trash the size of a 2-story building, a 3-story building. You walk by a river and the river stinks like a giant just did diarrhea in the river, and that's all the river is, just a giantess's diarrhea. And you walk by piles of trash, people throw it everywhere, and then you think, the cars here, you were like, oh yeah, we have these new exhausts, we're going electric. You have no idea. There's no public transportation in much of the third world. It's almost non-existent. And if it is, it's these shitty buses that are smaller than the buses we have back home. They pollute insanely. They don't have any regulations about their gas. It doesn't have to be a percentage ethanol. There's no checking. They don't bring their cars in to get, I got to make sure that my car isn't spewing exhaust. You will be on the street corner and a truck or a car will drive by and a cloud of black, toxic soot will pour out and you just breathe it in and you almost die. And that happens millions and millions of times. Well, it happens millions of times a day because there's millions of people in these big cities like Mexico City and Bogota that are filled with smog. There's public transportation in Mexico can be dangerous. It sucks. It's non-existent in Bogota. Everyone is driving around in cars spewing, and we're over here. I want you to know that, so you know that most of like this whole stuff going on in the U.S., it's a scam. We're trying to. It doesn't work if the whole world doesn't do it, and the rest of the world isn't doing it. They don't care. China doesn't care. They're pouring coal smoke into the sky. What are you going to do? Just get used to it being hot. I went to an island, man, and on this island, it was beautiful, but I did some hiking. I got some unbelievable views, and I finally go towards the south side of the island, and this island, it's beautiful, but it relies on tourism, and tourists come in by the boatloads every day just to hang out for the day at the beach because there's no beach in the city, and then they go back. So this little island, everyone makes their money off tourism, selling overpriced shit and overpriced food to these drunk asshole tourists, right? And you go, Jesus, man, there's a lot of just beer cans everywhere. I see locals just being drunk all day. And then they're nice people, but they're drunk a lot of the time. And then I find their garbage dump while I'm hiking, right? And I'm seeing some beautiful views from these mountains. And I find this dump, man, and it's dead animals, it's refrigerators, it's appliances, it's styrofoam, it's plastic, it's rubble, it's every conceivable thing you could throw out. They just pick a side of the island where an old U.S. bunker is, and there's a beautiful view of the ocean, and they just dump their shit there. And for us, this looks like paradise, and you go, dude, what are you doing? But to them, they're like, well, fuck you, what am I going to do, huh? Live on an island. This is how we make our money. You people come here, we end up with a lot of trash, day in, day out. And I kept wondering, because I go, I see a trash truck, where does he go? Because there's no barges picking up the trash. But once a year, maybe twice a year, they have a giant fire and they burn it. That's what these other countries do with their trash. They burn it. They burn the acreage, cubic tonnage of plastic and styrofoam and every conceivable thing you can think of. They just burn it. You just like, oh man, is it better if we just don't come here? Would that just make this not? I don't know. It's a. I've learned when traveling, when you go to a place, to see it for what it is. I've yet to find a place that I call paradise. I've been to places, because people always do that, been to places that are beautiful. But I also see the lack of beauty in them. It's like when you meet a girl and you go, damn, she got some fucking nice titties and she got a nice ass, but, like, the way she fucking laughs, like her, she's like a hyena, and you just want to fucking strangle her. And it's the same thing. The people, by and large, were incredibly nice. Every Uber driver I had would have a conversation and want to know where I was from, and very friendly. And the first Uber driver gave us a whole tour of the city, gave us the history of the city, except for the last Uber driver, which, if you dropped me off at the airport and then didn't turn off the meter, which is a running scam. Keep your eyes out. If somebody drops you off at the airport, they'll leave. What they'll do is they'll go back along the road. So if you look at the GPS map, it doesn't show the black line going a different direction. Then they come back to where they dropped you off, and then they hit end ride to try and scam you. But I don't know, man. Amazing time in Panama. Really was, blew me away that we had, like, the entire country's history is just this canal. And like I said, taking a boat out to this island and going in between these ships, they were like slumbering giants. It was like giant dragons just resting with their little smokestacks, like it was a dragon's nose just breathing out soot. And when I say there was ships, I mean dozens upon, like 100 tankers. I mean massive, monumental ships. And it makes you go, oh, I understand why that bridge in Maryland collapsed. These ships were cities. They were at least half the size of the island I was on. And you realize that each of these ships is just filled with metal from the crust of the earth. All of these ships, we across the world mined giant pits. We dug into the core of this planet to pull out metal, to smelt, just so we could melt it down and build these giant, colossal ships. And here they are, hundreds of them, just waiting out in the ocean, just like star destroyers, just these giant, I can't explain to you how every day I would look out and the ocean will be filled with them, and they're huge. They're skyscrapers, just on their sides, sitting in the ocean, huge, just filled with fucking bullshit, dude. Just filled with, like Toyotas and random toys and bullshit from China and, I don't know, clothing, just crates filled with sweatshop clothing and Nike sneakers. And you go, when you realize that all of colonialism was just for spices, really. It was for sugar. All this slavery for sugar and tobacco. All this conquering just to get fucking cumin and paprika. and oregano. It's just, when you think all this craziness for spice. I know like I'm doing a Dune thing here, but for spice. And then nowadays it's for Jordans. All of this. For stupid throwaway shirts, for a Rick and Morty shirt that was made in Taiwan or Thailand. It's wild. And when you saw these ships next to the mainland and the strip of the canal is only 50 miles wide. Put that in perspective. Boston to middle of New Hampshire, that's 100 miles. So that's not even the length of Massachusetts. That's not even Panama is about as wide as maybe Vermont and New Hampshire. It's like their middle points. This is a country, this is a sovereign nation, and it's so tiny. And you wonder why they get bullied by us for so long. Granted, without us, they would just be it's a weird give and take. In one hand, we did take advantage. We messed around in their internal affairs a ton. We would go in and fuck up their shit routinely and go, hey, we're just going to build military bases here for the World War. And then they're like, all right. And then we go, yeah, we're not taking them away. Go suck a dick. What are you going to do, bitch? We would do that. But at the same time, if it wasn't for us, there'd be no canal. And Panama would just be it'd be like another Nicaragua, Guatemala, just a poor, like an extremely poor, small country sitting in the middle of two continents without much going on at all. And, without, probably wouldn't be safe enough to have the tourism it has. So it's just weird. Like, Panama really made a deal. They basically, what Panama did is they pulled like an Anna Nicole Smith. They married some rich old dude and they sucked his old fucking wrinkly pecker for years until he finally died, and they go, now I get to enjoy this money. That's what Panama did. But I don't know, I'm sorry, I've gone off on this for a while. I've been thinking more and more about cultural exchanges because down here in Medellin, the passport bros have found out about it, right? And I've got a lot of mixed feeling about the passport bros, as you know if you listen to this podcast. Some of them are solid dudes, some of them are just fucking losers, right? A lot of losers have come down here. A lot of hood dudes have come down here because they all worship Pablo Escobar. They think it's so cool. Meanwhile, the locals think it's terrible. So a lot of fucking like dudes who just are at the bottom rung of our socioeconomic ladder back home. And they want to travel to a place where they get to feel like they're upper class compared to the locals and treat the women that way accordingly. Now, some dudes are just fine. They're just whatever. They're having fun. You drink, you party, whatever. That's your fucking right to travel. Fuck bitches, man. I'm not like, I think that's part of traveling. You go to a new place, you drink the drinks, you eat the food, you fuck the pussy. That's part of it, dude. It's part of traveling. But some dudes are taking it to another level, right? And they're douchey and it's awful. And age of consent down here is 14. It's pretty much like that across the board in Latin America. Now, you'd think that'd be enough. You'd think, all right, dudes are going down there and they're banging whatever, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, yuck. And some dudes are doing that. But for some pieces of shit, that's not enough. Because in 2018, they caught a bunch of fucking Israelis with a giant kiddie sex ring in Colombia. And they were pimping out these little kids to other Israelis. Keep in mind that while we're on the topic of Israelis running sex rings, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein, both Israelis running up. So this is buried in the books for them. But anyway, an American just got caught down here with a 12 and a 13-year-old. Now, they caught him after the fact, and the cops were bribed, and they let him go. And he went back to the U.S., and everyone found pictures of his passport, and they contacted his friends and family and shit, which is only fitting. Because, bro, now the girls did have fake IDs, so I don't know if the dude knew their actual age. He didn't know they were under 18. He knew that, okay? Because he went to a hotel, and the hotel security goes, dude, these girls, they're too young. And for Colombia standards, that's young, okay? In a culture where people in their 20s, because that's Latin culture, that's how it is in Puerto Rico. I remember my friend Pablo telling me, he's like, dude, I leave high school, and grown-ass men with cars would be waiting outside for their, 26, 27, 28, waiting for their high school girlfriends. That's how it was. He had a grandmother who got married when she was 12, maybe 14, I think. It's just, now, so if a security guard down here says, whoa. Anyway, the guy came back later when that dude left, presumably had his way with the girls, was able to get out of the country, and it became a big thing. The Colombians are not happy about it, and they're like, we're letting these fucking gringos come down here and fuck our kids. We don't want our city to be a fucking Vegas, a cesspit for fucking for diddlers and pedophiles and degenerate, drug-addicted scum. All right? And so they had a massive protest because what happened? Their mayor banned prostitution, because it is legal here. Banned, but it's outside, it's not regulated, which would fix it. If they just did what Netherlands did, it would fix it. He banned prostitution in that one area of the city and said all the bars have to shut down at 1 a.m. now instead of 3. And the bar's like, what the fuck did we do? We didn't suck this guy's dick. We didn't give him the little kids. Now, these girls, eventually they found out they're being like, they live in a safe house, and the house is not safe. So I'm not, when I say safe house, it's not a safe, it's not a literal safe house. It's them and other girls in this house that is run by a gang. And this gang runs all the vice in that area, and they pay off the mayor. And you realize that our cultures are the same. Now, in a third world, second world country, it's gangs and criminal organizations that pay off politicians to keep them from making the society a better, more functioning society. In the U.S., in the first world, our gangs are corporations. Our politicians are bought and sold by pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies and merchants of death, weapons companies who do the same thing. They go, hey, here's what you're going to do. Hey, it turns out that everyone's mad because we gave them they gave them a vaccine or a pill, and it's killing them. And you're going to make sure that they can't sue us, so tough titties and whatever. Just deal with it. It's the same thing. There's no difference. It's the organized crime and the corporate world are the same thing. And you're probably like, but there's not as much murder. Well, Chiquita Banana and United Fruit Company hired death squads here in Colombia, so there is as much murder. There's not as much murder. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. We invade countries that don't buy our goods, and then we kill lots of people. So it's the same thing. But it's a weird situation being in, because the vibe of the city is, it's a lot less friendly. But at the same time, I went like hiking up a road with this guy I made friends with, another American, and we met an old timer. And the difference between the younger and the old generations to foreigners is very interesting, because this guy came up to us and he said, thank you for coming to my country. He goes, I'm so happy to see Americans here. I lived in America. Whenever I meet a Colombian who lived in America, they're so happy to see Americans down here. He goes, I'm so happy to see Americans here, because for years, we said their country's a fucking shithole. It's dangerous. So for them to see us here, walking around feeling safe, they're proud. They go, my country's made it. I'm not a cartel, chop them up wasteland of crime and cartels. We're joining the first world where people can travel here and all that. And he was he kept saying thank you. I was so blown away. This guy saying thank you to us for living in his country, just for visiting. Meanwhile, the young people are like, get the fuck out of here. So it was just because they didn't grow up at that time. They're at a time where their country's filled with gringos, and Americans, Europeans, and Canadians, and Australians. So they're like, get out. They don't remember the before time. But it's obvious. Like, I have these arguments with my wife about too much Latino immigration in America. She gives me shit for too much gringo immigration down here. Granted, the amount of gringos in... Now, when I say that, I'm just using that as a word for Europeans, Americans, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, right? So the amount of us that's here is minuscule. It's less than 5% of the city. I want to say it's maybe 2%, if that, of the city. It's population. Tens of thousands in a city of millions, right? Meanwhile, there's 65 million immigrants in the U.S. right now. There's, I don't know, maybe over 100 million or close to it Latinos in the U.S. I go, you can't. I go, I'll watch my wife see one white foreigner, and she goes, wow, there's a lot of gringos here. And I'm like, you have no... Like no one understands how much immigration the U.S. really takes in. They don't. And it made me think about culture, because the same week that people here are flipping out about Americans coming down here, back home in Massachusetts, we had a bunch of ICE agents catch a bunch of Latino illegal immigrants who had fucked kids. Venezuelans, one of them was even Colombian. So here, people are going, get these gringo white kitty fuckers out of our country and back home. We're like, get these Spanish fucking whatever bean eaters, kid fuckers out of our. It's the same, you know. Literally at the same time. It was just, and I'll hear something funny. We're figuring out where to do our wedding, our religious wedding for our families. My mother's like, I'm not going to Colombia. It's too dangerous. I don't want to get killed. I don't want to get chopped up. I'm not going to Colombia. Not a fucking chance. In her mind, it's all FARC terrorists, communist terrorists, kidnapping people. It's Pablo Escobar. It's narcos. It's drugs. It's sicarios. It's cartels. My mother-in-law, my mother's mother said, if we do it in the U.S., she's like, I'm not going. She's like, it's too dangerous. I'm not going to go to the U.S. to die. She goes, it's filled with mass shootings. They're always shooting everybody, gang shootings. They're blowing shit up. I just watched the news and a guy literally, they get all our news. So she's watching the news and she's seeing that a guy is shot in the head at 5 p.m. on the A train in Brooklyn, in New York City, going, this place isn't safe. So when I first came in, everyone told me, be careful, they're going to cut your kidneys out. When my wife first came to the U.S., you know what her coworkers said? They said, be careful, they're going to cut your fucking kidneys out. It's man. But speaking of, while we're on the topic of diddlers, right? And I don't want to get too into this because it just makes me upset. It makes me very upset. Is that, you know, in a country where, like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but in a place where you could get your rocks off with girls from 14 to 18, what monster, what beast goes, that's not good enough? I need a 13-year-old. What? You know, it's, and back home we got the Nickelodeon documentary. We got all this shit about Dan Schneider, and we found out about P. Diddy. We found out about Justin Bieber has been getting diddled. All these kids in Nickelodeon, and I'm sure Disney and all this, and everyone's going, what is going on in Hollywood? And guys, here's what you got to understand. That's what Hollywood is. Hollywood's not this beautiful where dreams are made and you grew up wanting to be an actor and it's this, movies are amazing. No. Hollywood was made so a bunch of perverts, a bunch of people could make money. They could put out propaganda, because that's what it is. Most Americans think their concept of the Second World War and most of history is all propaganda made in Hollywood. All right? They make a bunch of propaganda, and it was an excuse for men to make a bunch of money doing nothing and to fuck a lot of women who were desperate for fame and to diddle a lot of kids. That's what Hollywood is. That's what it was created for. And when you understand that, you understand how this stuff happens. Hollywood's doing what it was supposed to do. It's not this. The entertainment industry is a nasty business. I've worked in it, in front and behind the camera. I know what it is. It's a nasty business, and sometimes it can make you feel great. You watch a movie like Forrest Gump, and you go, I feel cool inside. And then you realize Tom Hanks might be a really nasty bastard, and you're trying to figure out, how often does this happen? You know, that's Hollywood. That's a music industry. You know, like, oh, I love this guy. Oh, man, then you find out he's another diddler. Over and over and over again. And here's the thing, and this worries me. I think if you went to most Americans and you said, hey, here's the deal. We can shut down Hollywood and all this damage and horrible trauma and this raping and this blah, all of it will stop. But that means no more movies and no more TV shows. You're just going to have to, watch what you watched before. Or you're just going to have to read books and hang out with people. I think most people would go, I'm willing to sacrifice the kids. I think most people can't imagine going back to life before TV and movies. And let me tell you, dude, go play video games. Go read a book. Go outside. You don't need it. Most of TV sucks nowadays. I'm watching The Sopranos now for the first time, and the reason people keep rewatching these shows, Breaking Bad and Sopranos, is because they were made before wokeism exists. And no one likes woke television, even woke leftists. Everyone inside naturally regurgitates wokeness because you watch it and you go, a fucking female mob boss? No, I'm not doing this. No. Oh, really? A black queen lesbian Viking? How about no? It's all the interactions are non-human. They're not real. Everything's fake, and and that's Hollywood. It's fake, but it gets to a point where it's so fake that you just go, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I don't know, man. We're coming up on. Since I'm talking about the passport bro thing, dude. Look, I've considered myself like a red pill guy, right? I make tons of misogynistic jokes. I don't hate women. I have some very old-fashioned views, and some of you are like, well, no. I've got some very old, I'm talking like hello, my lord, type views on gender. like ye old pub type views on gender. but I love women, right? I do. And I see what's happening with young dudes, and oh man, there's I talked about this with Andre, but there's something going on with the red pill thing. There's a subsection of it which is just, I post a lot online, okay? So I end up on there seeing what's on there. And there's just a type of young dude that's given up all hope, who at 22 just gave up on women. Bro, go get your heart broken. Go fuck up. Go make some mistakes. Go figure out women, and in the process, figure out yourself. But, there's this weird swinging where obviously some people are, as the wokeness and the left-wing stuff gets so ridiculous, people are just going, you know what? I'm gonna go as far from, it's like if you were raised in an abusive Christian household, right? And so when you get out, you just become everything your family hated because you want to do everything that is the antithesis and the opposite of them. Right? And I saw a tweet today. Here was the tweet. Don't ever cry in front of your woman. Ever. And then it showed one of these dumb posts. People will write out something on Reddit and they go, oh, this happened to me. And it's always fake. Because no real life people, any real life person goes to their friends and go, you wouldn't believe what happened with me and Susie, or guess what happened to me. No one goes, I'm going to write this out in a blog post on Reddit. Nobody would, the stories are always missing context. They're clearly fake, and if they are real, it's barely real, right? This guy said he cried in front of his wife after his friend died, and now he overheard her and her friend going, he's not even a man. And this guy shares the story and goes, never cry in front of a woman. And I just go, I've been seeing this more and more from dudes who are like, oh man, you gotta be harder, you just gotta, and these are from dudes who don't even have trauma. I went through some serious trauma. I know when I'm talking to somebody who's been through trauma, and they just don't have it, and they're just hating. They're just hating women, just dude, if you hate them, you won't ever be able to have a relationship with them. And that should be the end goal. Look, you want to be young and have some fun? Yeah, dude, go fucking do your thing. make you a more desirable man when the time comes and you find the right one. But put a time limit on it. Don't be that dude that's hunting puss till you're 45. That's not a pretty thing. It's not pretty. It's not fun. Promise you, dude. You don't want to be that guy. It's like, what is it? Is it Wedding Crashers where a hall pass, Owen Wilson meets like an old dude who's bald and the guy ends up like, oh yeah, you see this girl? I fucking pounded her. And he goes, that's my sister. But this guy is just, he's old. He's like almost 60 and he's still trying to be that dude. You know, that's what happens when you hate women. Like, come on, dude. Like, I understand they get frustrated, but I meet a lot of guys that are just like, there's a passport bro, right? He's 24. He got thrown out of Brazil. The country threw him out for saying Brazilian women are easy. They threw him out of the country. He's banned. Imagine the guy got banned from a country. And somebody wrote something I saw that was very, like, intuitive. They said, imagine being 24 and you've already given up on women in America. And this guy's been traveling for years. So it's like, this guy gave up at 20. Like, dude, I understand being like, yeah, I'm 30 and I've dated a long time and, like, I just can't find a woman that's into me, so let me try another market. But dudes are giving up before they even played the game. These young guys are giving up immediately. Right away. I don't know. I saw something somebody posted, like, oh, girls in my town, they start losing their virginity at 12 and 13. And I'm like, do you think they're not doing that in Latin America? Do you think they're not doing that in Africa and South Asia? I can tell you for certain girls start even just as early down here. You know, like, now the difference of femininity and how they treat you is true, but girls being slutty or not, well, you have to go to a Muslim country to find them not slutty. They can be slutty anywhere. But I don't know, it blows me like a prostitute blows me. Blows me away, dude. I'm not gonna cry. This one guy wrote, he said, I was with the same girl when my mother, my brother, and my dog died, and I didn't cry in front of her once. Like, proud. And someone goes, yeah, dude, that's how you have to do it. And he goes, yeah, she said I'm a sociopath. And other people are like, dude, you are a fucking sociopath. You're a sociopath. Look, it's okay to cry as a dude. I can't believe I have to say this in 2024, but it's okay to cry as a dude. Now, if there's a big difference between my mother died and I'm going to cry, right? And I use sobbing like every day. Like, personally, when I lose someone, I usually have like a big cry. And then if at the service, I might tear up too. But there's a big difference between that and you cry in front of your wife because you're stressed out. That is going to have an effect on her. You know, you're going to say that for, I would, maybe your relationship can stand that. I'm not going to tell anyone how to do that, but that's something I would kind of save for another time and place. But, so, the guy, you know, Dances with Wolves, that's based on a guy who wrote a book. His name is Tom LaForge. He wrote a book called Memoirs of a White Crow Indian. This guy was badass. This guy became a Crow Indian. This guy, I'm pretty sure he was already a Civil War veteran. I could be wrong on that. I have the book. I haven't finished it. I barely just started it. But he fought with these people. He lived with these people. This guy was the real deal, Tom LaForge, right? And he said one of the most powerful things he ever realized in his life was that sometimes when life would get to him, he'd go out into nature and just cry. And he'd let it all out, and he would feel amazing afterwards. And he told every one of his kids, the boys and the girls, when the time comes, go into nature and cry and feel better. I've read the Iliad. The whole Iliad is all about these Greeks and Trojans, and the Trojans, which is Greeks and Troy, killing each other and then crying. Oh, my friend got killed. They would cry. They would lament over the loss. I read a lot of history. I've read so much ancient history where the ancients were way more open with their emotions. They cry when they lose friends. Oh, my friend, was lost in battle, or my friend has to move to another city and I'll never see him again because there's no planes, or, there's no cars. I'm not going to see you again. And they cry. They owned it. These were men. These were men who would take your average man today who's posting from his little boy cave going, I don't cry in front of women. He'd take that guy, he'd fucking castrate him with his bare hands and put him in a pretzel and then pound his fucking brown eye. Just to see the look on his face. I don't cry in front of women. Man, look, be a man. Be confident. Be there for your woman. Be sure and be strong. And it's not going to be an issue. If I can't cry in front of my woman because my fucking mother died, because one of my friends died, all right, I'm going to have to take my dog to get put down in a couple months. My wife is with me, and I tear up, and she doesn't. If for some reason she gives me shit, I'll fucking get back on. I'll put you back on a fucking plane. Now, she wouldn't do that because I love her and I'm with her because she's a good woman. But as a man, if you're with a broad and you get emotional because your friend died, you cry, you show emotion, and she uses that against you, or you know that you can't cry in front of her because it'll ruin your relationship, your marriage. That's not a bitch you should be with. That's some, and I'm going to use this term, that's some beta shit. If you're holding back who you are for the fear that you won't be respected or you will be left, you're not alpha or tough or dominant. You're the exact opposite. Because to be those things, to be powerful and strong and confident means you do what you think is right for you. And if anyone else has a problem with it, they can suck your fucking smelly dick after a long jog up a mountain range. That's how you handle that. That's the way you, as a man, handle that. One of my buddies dies, I come home and I cry, and a girl I'm seeing goes, "Ooh, what are you crying?" I go, I will get your shit. I will, you walk out of here with your stuff now, or I grab your hair and I drag you the fuck out of here. I'm not, you know what, I should encourage that, but like that's how you be a man. That be crying is part of being a man. Jesus Christ, man, like, there's a weird thing going on where we've been grifted by progressives and woke stuff for years. And now, as we're moving back to a more kind of right-wing zeitgeist, the grifters are either already been on that side faking it, or they're moving over. They're Michael Rappaport, piece of fucking garbage. I love to stomp his face in with a steel-toe boot. If I ever got the chance, that Zionist pig, I'm sorry, I'm losing my temper. I don't like the guy. He suddenly, after years of saying that everyone who voted or supported Trump was a filthy animal, was a subhuman, was a Nazi, racist pig, was just, if you vote for Trump, fuck you, you're a piece of garbage, I hate you, I hope your fucking kids die. That was Michael Rappaport. Now that Israel, because he's a Jew, and now Israel's going through, and he's a Zionist, going through his thing, suddenly he's had a change of heart. Suddenly things have affected him. And so now, and Michael Rappaport is a genuinely hate-filled racist who on his Instagram openly calls for the extermination of the Palestinian people. And I don't mean like in a cheeky way. I mean openly says, I hope their women and children die. I don't care how many die. I'll kill all of them for one Israeli. Their women and their kids. That's Michael Rappaport. Suddenly, he went from screaming in his phone in favor of AOC and other Democratic candidates to suddenly yelling about Joe Biden. He's the same dude. He just changed his grift. So please, just because someone says stuff you should like now doesn't mean they're on your side or they're genuine or you should like them. There's a girl I keep seeing all over social media. She was an OnlyFans whore, right? And I use that phrase because I don't like her. She did that thing, which, dude, this really bothers me. I don't know why. I'm so old that like I couldn't even get into like Gen Z porn. There's this thing where the girls like make cross-eyed, like they stare at their eyes and then they open their mouth and they stick their tongue out. But they make this, they like try and look like anime characters and they put their, and it bothers me. I don't want to come on their face. I just want to punch their fucking face. Like it doesn't make me aroused. It makes me very angry, like violently angry. I don't know what, it makes me mad. I don't know why, but it makes me so mad. And she was one of them. And she had all these different weird, she had bright red hair, and she made $9 million off OnlyFans. Who are you losers giving money to girls on OnlyFans? What are you doing? Guys, look, if you listen to this, and if you are paying for OnlyFans, this is your time. You have hit rock bottom. You should be ashamed of yourself. Do something about it. Okay? This is like when you go to the beach and you take off your shirt and you realize how fat you really fucking are because you try and put sunscreen on and there's like a new fold that wasn't there before. This is your time, chunky. This is your time. My OnlyFans friends, don't do it. So, for Lent, I gave up all sugar, I gave up energy drinks, I gave up sweets, and I gave up porn. That was not easy for me. That was not easy, but I'm telling you, because I did it for Lent, this is why I think fasting and Lent is so important, whether it's Ramadan or Lent. And I think we should have this, whether you do it in a secular way like, what is it? No Nut November, Sober October. Give up something for a period of time to see if you can do it. For real. And the thing with Lent for me was because it was for a religious thing. And I felt like if I didn't do it, if I fucked up, I felt like I wasn't just letting myself down, I was letting God down, which is still letting me down. And in effect, I was letting my even though they didn't know about it, but my family and my wife down. It had a bigger thing that it was like I felt like this community I don't even know if I'm a part of, going to this church here, felt like I let everything down. So I didn't. I toughed it out. I was blown away. And I'm telling you, man, like I tried looking at porn again afterwards, and it just bothered me. It felt gross. It was in that 40 days I was able to just, I don't know, be a person. So like if you're in too much into porn or OnlyFans, dude, you can do it. Get off. Just make a deal with whoever you love, whoever you look up to. Family, friends, your father, your mother, your ancestors, God, Jesus, Buddha. And make a pact. Say, I'm not going to do this and don't do it. I promise when you get done, if you really do it, even if you fuck up, just keep doing it. Just go, all right, I slipped up. I'm going to restart. I promise you'll feel better. Anyway, this girl, red hair, still has a bright red hair, has had work done on her face, still looks like a porn star's face, is still benefiting from all the fame she got as an OnlyFans girl, because she got millions of social media followers as well. Made $9 million in OnlyFans. Suddenly, she's a born-again Christian. And as much as we have an epidemic of red-pilled young guys who hate women too much, like, as a man, you're supposed to hate women just enough. Not too much, just enough, okay? Because that's society. No one can ever find the sweet area, where it's like, all right, I'm a man, I don't I don't act like a bitch in front of my wife. I don't do that. Oh, I'm not going to cry when my dad dies because my wife is here. You know, like, find the sweet area, dude. Find that Goldilocks zone. No one can do that anymore. Everything's too hot and too cold. Yes and to no. You're in and you're out. You're up and you're down. It's black and it's white. It's something Katy Perry. Fuck, where was I? I was just talking and I lost my point because Katy Perry's song just got stuck in my head. It's just got... so she's all these right-wing, you know, I'm going to call them Christ cucks. I don't like using stupid nicknames, but there's a type of Christian that is just like, bro, look, dude, I'm a Catholic Christian. I believe in God. It has changed my life for the better. With that being said, there are types of people, especially anyone into dispensationalism, Pentecostals, evangelicals, and you know there can be people in my own secular sect of Christianity that are like this, who are just like, it's this weird autistic kind of rule book for them, and without it, they don't know how to be a person, right? And I understand why it drives away a lot of people. But there's these guys who are just too, and I mean literally by the book. Like I don't, like everything in the Bible is everything. And it's like, no, dude, because I'm not doing that. I don't eat shrimp stuff, even though I like, there's a lot of, a lot of that is not what was intended. It was written by men. It has been changed through translations time and time again. It has been manipulated. It has been rewritten. It was written 600 years. It was formulated 600 years after the beginning of the church, of the original Catholic Eastern Orthodox Church, before the Great Schism. So put that all in perspective. But there are these guys who, well, she said she's accepted Jesus into her heart. We got to, no. I've talked about here before about like the trans thing, where trans people need to be able to say when someone goes, I'm trans, no, you're not. You're not one of us, and by letting you in, you degrade what we are and you turn us into something we're not. Christians got to do that. You got to go, hey, you're not really about this, because she's not. She's a fraud. And like a lot of young people they lack basic human communication, street smarts, instincts of looking at someone and going, oh, you're a phony. They can't do that. They grew up in an internet world. They don't know how to go, oh, this guy's a scam. You're scamming me. They don't know how to go, oh, I can see in your eyes not to trust you. Your energy, your body language, everything tells me you're a fraud, you're a phony, you're a charlatan, you're a snake oil salesman. Stay away, stay away. My stomach, my instincts, my gut, stay away. They're sitting there. These guys who, a month ago were like, you're a whore, Jezebel, get what you... Suddenly, all this girl had to do, now she hasn't donated any of her earnings, she's not helping anyone in any way, all she did was go, I like Jesus now. Yeah, he's pretty cool. I found a Bible, changed my life. I'm born again, baptized, baby. And these same guys were like, you fucking dirty whore. Like, oh, praise Jesus. I'm so happy for you. I forget her name. I don't even want to encourage you to look her up. Oh, suddenly they're following her. That's all she had to do. Was just go, oh, Jesus is cool. And they're just like, oh my God, fucking queef in my face. She got like the Jesus pass, and suddenly they could simp for her. Suddenly they could just go, I'll lick your ass, it's okay now. You're not like that anymore. It's different now, which shows that they're not really about their morals. They're not really about their mindset. In reality, they're just looking for, what? Do you know when you're with a girl, or a girl who goes, she's with a guy, right? I've met many girls who do this. Suddenly they're kind of on a break, and she just starts pounding, fucking every dude oh, we're back on? Zip. Just, what? How did you emotionally detach yourself from a relationship and commitment in 3 seconds? It's like an on and off switch. And that's how it is for people who don't have a moral compass. They need this strict thing where, okay, if I do this and this says it's in the rule book, it's okay. Like she's this legal age. And you're like, yeah, but she acts like I know she's 18, but she seems like she's 15 mentally. Dude, yeah, but it says she's 18. Today I can do it. When she was 17, 364 days, it's wrong. But no, it's right today, 17.3. It's those sort of people exist in all facets of life, and especially religion. And I've seen it, and I'm just, how are you not? How are you not picking up on this? This girl's a fraud. She's a phony. What is? I don't remember her name. Whatever, fuck her. I don't even, not literally, but these same dudes are suddenly following her. So all she had to do, she made the 9 million. She's keeping the 9 million. She's keeping all the followers she made being a hoe. And suddenly, she's not losing any of them. She's just going, oh yeah, I'm doing this Jesus thing. And now I'm just going to videotape myself walking around being a dumb bitch. And all these people love her now. All these guys who, because you know what, in reality, these are the guys who are paying for her OnlyFans already. That's what it was. And now they can like her on where everyone can see. Their obsession with her doesn't have to be in the dark. And suddenly, she's not traditional. She's been a hoe. She looks gross. I know I'm really ripping this girl to shit. I don't like phonies. I just don't. And she's plastic. Physically, as in literally, and just is. And I'm just, I guess just beware. Just beware, man. I feel like more and more I just keep seeing people taken for a ride. Like I'm a hopeful dude, and then I get on TikTok, and TikTok can, oh man, it can suck it out of you, man. I hope they really do just ban that app. I hope they ban all of them, but TikTok worst of all, because TikTok is showing me these lives, right? And some of them were like a trans girl who's on a live. And a live is when you go live and it's a live videotape of you, and you just sit there and you talk, and people spend money on gifts, and TikTok takes about 60% of it, maybe 40, depending on what you make. And so all these people are just spending, like they spend money on these apps to give, and it's like, and you sit there and you go, oh, look, there's a doggy nose on my face. Oh, you just spent $5 for that. Oh no, there's this, what, a spaceship? That one was $100. Oh, aliens. It's just, and people do this. I know guys who make money this way. People are like, people genuinely, like, this is what I don't get. Times are tough. There's a recession. Is this still a recession? I don't know. There's inflation. Times are tough. And I know people are hurting. But there are people out there who really are, like boomers will be like, oh, these Gen Z millennials, they want their avocado toast. They're not wrong. They're not right, because inflation is horrible and stuff does still cost more. But young people do spend money on dumb shit. Young people spend money on lives. They donate money to TikTok. They do it on Facebook. They do it all on YouTube. They do it all the time. And I get given someone something because you go, hey, you know what, man? I've done this. I really enjoyed your content, and I want you to be able to make more. So here's a few bucks. I've enjoyed for hundreds of hours of listening to you. Here you go. You could do it to me. No, I mean, you could, but I don't even have anything set up for that. But this trans girl, what she did is she was announcing that she was trans, so guys there was a gift you could give, and what it would do is it would like superimpose a mustache on her face and a sombrero on her head. And she would flip out and go, I'm trans, don't do that. I worked hard to be a woman, blah, blah, blah. And then they would keep doing it. And these guys in their mind, I right away saw what it was. These idiots are like, I'm trolling this fucking tranny, ha ha. It's a scam, dude. She knows you're doing that. She's pretending to be angry so you'll keep spending money on the sombrero mustache thing. Maybe it's $1 or $2. I don't know how much it is, but you keep spending money on that over and over and over again to make her mad, and she pretends to flip out. She's making it seem real, but she's doing it because she's getting your money. You're spending money. These dummies are spending money and they don't know they're getting scammed. Right? It's just a game. She's smart. She knows what she's doing. She's taking you. And then the other lives I keep seeing these where it's on one side of the screen it's somebody who's arguing for Trump, and the other side it's somebody arguing for Biden, and they go and people will donate gifts, which are money, to each side, and oh, hey, I got this thing on my side, I got this, whatever, this little spaceship, whatever the fuck comes in. It's all dumb. But I remember seeing it live once for a bachelor party in Myrtle Beach where I was at this bar and they had a piano, and the guy goes, how about South versus North? And he has two things, and he goes, come on, put your money up here to show the other one who the baller is. And so he's pitting the Southerners against the Yankees, right? And each group of people will go up and be like, I'll put fucking $5 in here. And then a couple of these good old boys were like, I'm putting like 20s. And then some Yankees put 20s in. I'll put 100 in. And he goes, oh! And he's like, oh, you know what? And he's playing the piano. Hey, you know what? Ain't nothing easier than a Southern girl. Oh, those dumb Yankee broads. And these guys each spent hundreds of dollars to just spend more than the other one. And then the piano player just goes home with all the money. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing on TikTok. Hey.
What are they doing on TikTok?
I'm giving money to prostitutes on TikTok, OnlyFans girls.
Alright.
Oh, you smell nice.
Keep going.
Okay. And that's what's happening on TikTok. It's just and these two people are going, oh, I'm Trump, I'm Bain, but they're both getting paid. It's these two supporters going, well, my team, I'm gonna donate more money. And I've seen it. Hey, no kisses, I'm working right now, woman. All right? And I've seen it with Israel and Palestinians. There's a war going on and people are dying. And on one side is a girl with a big Israeli flag, and the other side is two Palestinian kids holding up their flags. And they're each getting paid money. And it put all this division in perspective for me. And this is a roundabout way of me saying we're coming in to a political season. I'm prepping my wife for what it's going to be like to be in the U.S. with this election coming up. It's going to suck. It's going to be a lot of bullshit. Figure out who you like. If you don't already, you should know by now. And just do your thing, right? But understand that divisions make money. Division and hatred makes profit. Not for the people there, but for that asshole piano player up top, that guy on TikTok, the people who own TikTok. There is profit to be made from hatred and division. So keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your head. Realize if you're being manipulated, because it's not easy. I know I've talked about this before, mental health. I always do, but I was talking to someone who, had a friend who lost a family member due to suicide. And I was like, oh man. Because I already lost someone to suicide, and I'm talking to somebody else who lost someone to suicide, and I just go, I'm making it seem more distant. I know a friend who lost a family member to suicide, a couple. And I just go, man, it just keeps happening. And then I have a friend who I was talking to who was dealing with thoughts of suicide. And he thankfully, through hallucinogenic healing, has gotten over it. And I'm so happy for him. I'm happy to hear that. But when we were talking about what he was going through, I was so taken aback, right? I was so like, oh, man. Like, why is it? Oh, man. Remember how I said Hollywood is just doing what it's supposed to do? The government just does what it's supposed to do, which is the bad thing, the wrong thing. Right now, the way we've got everything structured, it's doing what it's supposed to do, which is to make people unhappy and suicidal. I saw people are euthanizing themselves. I saw some stuff about some 28-year-old European girl who euthanized herself. You get that guy who burned himself alive for Palestine. Bro, these people are mentally ill. They're suffering from depression. The world doesn't make sense that we live in. How did it ever get to a point where people just go, I'm clocking out? Because we talk about how, there's never been a richer society, a society with more than ever before in all of human history. Then why are its people killing themselves? Why are people who have every opportunity off of themselves? And people who don't, who come here within a generation of integration or even just living in these societies, they end up doing it too. So there's something going on here. A very clear thing. It's like, I feel like I'm on a Star Trek episode where there's like a beeping sound on the Enterprise, and it causes people to just start phasering themselves. And everyone should be like, what's that beeping sound? What is the frequency? Why is it making people turn violent and kill themselves? That's what we all should be doing. But instead, they're just like, hey, let's go on TikTok and do my team versus your team. Like, hang in there. It's okay to feel that way. Understand that there's an outside source making you feel this way to profit from you. And you don't have to feel this way. I know I talk about this a lot, but the more I keep hearing about people going through this, it upsets me. It upsets me. I want people to find hope. I know, I was talking about young men, there's a lot of young dudes that are hating women, but they're not, it's not like, oh, I hate women because I got cheated on or I've been, fucking around and I've been burnt by women. It's, oh, I've never really done anything with women. I hate women. It's the bare minimum of having of responsibility, and people just cave. Talking to one of my coworkers, and he's like, oh yeah, my sister broke up with her boyfriend who she got a kid with. And I'm like, oh, why'd that happen? Oh, he's just playing video games. He wasn't being a dad. And I'm like, what? Dude, back in my day, a father would abandon his family for something good. Well, not good, but fathers would be alcoholics. They'd be serial cheaters on their wives. They'd be abusive. They'd have gambling problems. They'd be junkies. They'd be all sorts of stuff, but they didn't abandon their families. And if they did, it's because of one of those things. They'd be like, what happened to your dad? Well, my dad's just lost everything gambling. He disappeared. Oh, my dad's just a junkie, and my dad's in and out of prison. Nowadays it's, where's your dad? Oh, Fortnite. There's a new Call of Duty package. Oh, he's trying to get some new skins on Counter-Strike. What the fuck? How is that your coping mechanism? Is video games? Cause that's bro, go do cocaine, you fucking pussy. Go be a man. Go Jesus Christ. You got a baby and you ain't taking care of your baby? Why? Because of World of Warcraft? Or what's that is Destiny 2? I don't know, these fucking dumb games that kids treat like it's the real world. What's that one where they're fighting aliens and shit? I don't know. Skyfall? I'm an adult. I just, if I do play video games, I'll play a lot of old stuff. I'm fine. You don't have to keep up. You know what I realized is back in the day for all human history, people were like, you know what? I found what I like. I found what gives me a sense of peace, and I'm going to keep doing it. Okay? I'm just going to keep... What do? I play dice. Why do you play dice? Why do you play backgammon or dominoes? Well, that's why I learned to play when I was 14. I used to love doing it. I spent summer months just playing that game in the streets of Rome and Constantinople. So I'm going to keep doing it till the day I die with guys in my community. Man. I just... Look. Alright, I've been droning on. I know. I just... it is a beautiful world out there. And when you commit to something that makes you better, you know what? I'm not telling you not to go through your phase where you fuck up and be a bastard. I did. And it formed me as a man to who I am today. It made me rough around the edges, which has helped me. It's hardened me. It's hardened me. Fucking rock solid, dude. It's hardened me, right? If I could do it all over, if I could say something to you younger fellas, if you're even out there, bro, commit. Find, you'd be surprised how much pleasure you can get from committing and doing right by somebody else, doing right by someone you love, a woman, some kids. I think people always think they're missing out on something. Like I remember talking to one of my friends, and he's like, "Oh, you're off traveling." I'm like, "Dude, you have 3 beautiful kids, beautiful children. You married a girl whose family, you love her and you care about her, but it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that her dad is rich and you work for his company and you get to hang out in his giant fucking mansion." Like, I look at you and I'm like, you got a good thing, man. Like, you're always looking over. I don't think people realize how good it is. Just that's your way out of this is love, right? Is love and compassion. And these young dudes, they're missing the good stuff from like the Black Phillip show and Patrice O'Neal that taught them how to instinctually handle women, the stuff that Dante Nero would say. And instead, they're just going straight to Andrew Tate. And here's the thing. I like some of the stuff Tate says. I think he was good for waking up a lot of young dudes who had just spent their entire childhoods being told that they're terrible because they're boys and they're men. But Tate's not a real Muslim. He's just doing it to fucking do it. He's no different than this OnlyFans girl. Find a higher thing. Family, faith, preferably all of the above. I'm telling you, dude, it's not like everything's fixed, but you feel more grounded. And those thoughts of, oh, I'm just gonna off myself, and also don't be afraid to get some help, because like I said, like you're up against a lot, bro. The world's a lot. It's a big place out there. It's it's a messed up place, but it's a beautiful place, and you got to find those bits of beauty. And like when I'm inside all day editing, I just get, let me put a video up on social media, and right away I see a bunch of stuff and I go, oh man, this is just depressing. What is this? Who's this asshole trolling me? What? Oh man, get off my fucking back. Just over and over and over again. And then I go outside and I take some time and I sit in a park and I read. and some old guy comes by and says hi. You know, I went out with my wife just to go to this place, and she got some beer, and I got some chocolate milk. Yeah, I did. I got chocolate milk, and she got beer. And the guy was like, wow, your Spanish is really good, because I pronounced very well. There's a lot of guys I know down here, Americans, who can speak more than me, and that's because when I have the person I spend 95% of my time with speaks English to me, it's hard. It's really hard you need to be in a situation where you have to speak the language to get better. And I meet guys who have a bigger vocabulary, but their pronunciation and their understanding of grammar is terrible. Mine is good. And this guy goes, oh, wow, Spanish is really good. And I go, it made my fucking day, dude. Made my day. And this old guy came by when he had one eye and he was all fucked up, and he asked me for money, and I gave him some money. And then there was like a table in his way, and he couldn't get up this walkway, and I helped him, and this waitress came over and was like, thank you for doing that. You know? And I don't know, that there's no end to this goofy story. I don't know. It's just that stuff. That's what keeps you grounded. That's what keeps you happy. You know, you watch documentaries about Nickelodeon, and you just go, oh my God. You see another person euthanize yourself, and you go, oh my God. And you turn on the news, and it's, well, more people were killed today, and you go, oh my God. Well, find your middle zone. Find your porridge Goldilocks. Find your nice, warm porridge where you acknowledge what's going on that needs to be changed, and you say, those bastards that are doing evil shit need to be broken on the rack for their crimes, and I'll vote for anyone who does it. But also you go, let's hang out at a place where good things happen, you know? At a community center, an old folks home, and you help people, or a church, or I don't know, someplace good. And you make some real world interactions. Because the problem with the internet interactions is that you're opening a doorway deep, completely into your life, where people who you haven't vetted and you don't know get to step in and step out. You're not as anonymous, and you're not as protected as you think you really are. Because when you go on there, onto these apps or whatever, or the news, you pull all that shit in. All that, it's like you open yourself up to all that. I do it when I put up a video and someone comes through and says some negative shit. I open the doorway and somebody's spitballing me through the door. Somebody's throwing flaming bags of dog shit into my door, and I gotta just be like, all right, you know, I open this door, I gotta deal with it, but I can peek through the door and be like, yeah, fuck you. I still see a nice rainbow and an eclipse out there, so suck my dick. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a fantastic life. All things considered, man, keep your head up. With everything going on, stay motivated, stay happy. What is that? I got a patch in my beard. Be aware when you're being manipulated. Be aware when you're being grifted. And like I said, with like my whole experience with Panama is, sometimes you really just, you don't understand something until you get close to it, right? I don't know. I think I was trying to sound deep there, and I wasn't at all. Oh, man. I wish I had talked more about Panama. But it was great. It was great. I got to meet some great people. One Uber driver tried to fuck me over. A lot of people were great and were nice to me. And it was really interesting, you know, being on the other end of something, going somewhere where you're like, oh, you're one of the guys who's had like a weird relationship with my country, because you go to the museums and they talk about it. They talk about, you know, like being treated as second tier in their own country, and you're like, oh, I get it. And some of them, you know what? Here's something funny. I'll end on this. So my cousin texts me, right? For those of you who don't know, because we had land down there, we had bases down there, and we did all our jungle training for decades. If you were in the military and you wanted to do jungle training, you usually did it in Panama, because of the canal, they have a watershed. So they won't allow building within a certain range of the canal in certain areas. So there's a ton of natural jungle and rainforest because they need those. Because without it, you won't get the rainwater in the soil and the rivers to then go down into the man-made lake where these giant ships come through. So you need that. So I'm talking to my cousin who he's older. I hardly ever talk to him. Unbelievably, he texts me and he goes, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in Panama." He was like, "Going with my dad. He was asking about you." And he's like, "I was in Panama." And I go, "What?" He's like, "I did jungle training in Panama." He's like, "I was actually there during the invasion." So for those of you who don't know, in '89, the United States invaded Panama, about 29,000 troops. It was our biggest invasion since Vietnam was in 1989 in Panama. So what happened is we were dicking around in Panama, and with most of Latin America, we put in charge. It isn't just Latin America, this is everywhere. We had a guy that basically was kind of a CIA asset who took charge and became a dictator. Somebody who we liked, who then got off, who we didn't like. Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, Osama bin Laden, pretty much every fucking dictator we've ever touched over and over and over again around the world. So, CIA asset, eventually he starts killing people, doing horrible stuff, and then we're like, "Yeah, Noriega, his name was Noriega. Noriega, you are fucking up. We can't have this. This is good. Dude, they had an election, you lost, and now you just won't accept the loss. And so we're kind of fed up with your nonsense. You've been disappearing some people, so we're going to disappear. And Noriega was dealing drugs, right, to make money. So they say, "Hey, we want to try you in Florida." He's like, "I'm not even an American. What do you mean?" So they invade. In order to bomb some military stuff, they blew up an entire neighborhood. About 350 Panamanian civilians were killed. And the Panamanians were not happy about that. Although most people were happy that Noriega was ousted. Anyway, my cousin goes, "I was down there." And I go, "What?" He goes, I was there for the invasion." I go, was it crazy? What was it? He goes, "I didn't see any action." He goes, "In reality, what would happen is we would meet the local soldiers and they'd immediately surrender. And then 2 weeks later, we were swearing them into the new democratic military." And I was like, that's just America and our foreign relations in a nutshell. But he's telling me about him and his buddies. He's sober now, but he was a drunk back in the day. And they steal a canoe and they paddle out to a cruise ship that's waiting to go into the locks and into the canal. And they get out back, and some guy opens the door, and he looks down at them on one of the side of the cruise ship, and he goes, "We're about to start the engine, so unless you want to get sucked into our fucking turbines, I get the fuck out of here, fellas. We got nothing for you." And they were going out to the cruise ship to steal booze from the cruise ship. And they ended up turning around as the ship started up, and they capsized and had to swim back in full gear and full military clothing, fatigues, with the canoe over their heads all the way back to shore. And then he said when they were, when they land and they start going around, with their guns and stuff, because to capture troops, they just show up in random towns and all they want to do is loot booze. Really, they just kept going to bars and cantinas and stuff, trying to loot booze. And every time they get to a place, the Marines had been there, had looted it first, because the Marines always say, "Hey, we go in first." So they got to loot all the booze first. And it was a very unique thing when he texted me of I had no idea you did this. At the same time, just to summing up a lot of our international relations, a bunch of young guys who were in the military to try and get a better life. And they're like, "I don't know, why are we down here?" Some guy named Noriega. "What did he do?" "I don't fucking know, dude. Let's just fucking steal some shit." That's just... Just U.S. foreign policy in a nutshell. Anyway, hey, if you did want to like message about the thing I did with Andre, hit me up. Also, thanks for listening. I'll have some more coming up, and yeah, stay happy, stay motivated. If you're thinking about hurting yourself, get help. It's okay that you're thinking that. A lot of people do. Get some help. The only thing that's not okay is not doing something about it. So, don't get grifted, and don't allow the world to profiteer off your agony and your sadness. Don't shed your mortal coil so soon. When the time comes, go out. But like, don't say life is tough. I'm a 28-year-old woman in the Netherlands or Denmark or Canada, and I'm just, because chances are it's really, you got something going for yourself, all right? You just haven't taken the time to stop and smell the roses. So keep your head up. Go cry in front of some bitches. Don't. Here's how I'll finish this. I was following a lot of people who I thought I agreed with, right? On the political spectrum, on the life spectrum, on the philosophical spectrum. And I eventually realized that a lot of the guys I was following were chronically online little fucking boys. Just adolescents. Maybe they're in their 20s, but they're still, or teenagers, just young adolescents with no concept of life, talking shit and posting. And I go, dude, finally, who is on every day, day in and day out? And I go, fucking kids. Dudes with responsibility. I go, why am I following you? You at the end, you don't really know what the fuck you're talking about. Even if you agree with me, you also a lot of times have some dumb takes. And I was like, let me clean this out. So clean out what you follow in the real world, in the digital world. Clean out what you take in, just like how you filter your water, because fluoride makes you fucking dumb and gay. I don't know if it makes you dumb. I don't know if it makes you gay and it makes you sick. So filter that out and don't get got. Don't get got in a world where, where a lot of people are profiteering. Figure out who's, even if someone's kind of, you're like, yeah, I guess this is like, I guess I'll support you. I don't know, I like everything you say, but you seem genuine. I'll be a follower. Like, not like I'm a follower, but I'll give you a follow. Or if you find it Kenny, you go, I guess this is what I'm voting for, whatever. But like, don't get got. Right? Also, it is good to have some concrete beliefs and have them, but don't be reliant on other people for them. Anyway, get your act together. Take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for listening.